Welcome back to C&H Farms. Today we're going to be starting a new farm, but instead of the 2020s that we're in currently, we're going back to the 1980s. First, before we dive into the equipment and the farm setup from the 1980s, we got to talk about why we're doing the 1980s. For me personally, I love the 1980s style of farming, like the equipment. That's the best part. The only bad part about the 1980s for farming is it was terrible financially. There's a massive farm recession in the Midwest. That's where this farm is located, specifically Missouri. Anyway, the early 1980s, there's a massive farm recession from a financial crisis. Basically, farmers just had a bunch of debt. I think that's enough of the history. You guys want to see the farm, so let's get over here. Currently, we're in the Ford, and we're heading over to the farm. Here it is, right here. Pulling to the driveway here. So, first vehicle we're gonna be looking at, it's my Ford 1983 5.7 liter dualies. Very good truck. It's a diesel, so it's rolls coal. It's such a good truck, one of my favorite trucks. But yeah, 1982 special. I don't know, I think I said 1983, but 1982, very good truck. One of my favorites. So yeah, we'll hop back in, we'll go around the farm. There it is. See that? Sounds insanely good. Alright, so we'll start out on the right actually. So obviously we have our house tucked back there. Then we have a bunch of bale storage. Currently we have a bunch of silage bales and straw bales in there for the cattle operation, which you're going to see any second here. Right there then on the right, there's our old style cattle dairy. It's a dairy farm. We're running not too many head of cattle right now because obviously this is a new farm, haven't done much. We already got straw and TMR in there, so we're running good. If you guys have watched my channel, you've actually seen this one before. There's a milk parlor back here. Now, yes, some of this technology is definitely newer than the 1980s, but in Farming Simulator, it's hard to get as specific as possible just because mods, you know. So that's the farm. Now over here, we'll look at the fields real quick. We have a nice cornfield here. This is pretty cool across the river here. It's running a little. It's running a little deep. But yeah, there's another cornfield over here, another river, and some more fields. We got some soybeans and other grains. But enough with that stuff. You guys will see that later. So now the main part. We got our massive silo here and where everything is stored. We're gonna go check this out right now. So we'll start over here inside the main shed. Alright, so here in the side shed we have our SLC 323 grain head for the combine. Obviously you guys know what this does. We'll stick this on for harvest when we're doing grain. Not too much to explain here, but that's that. And right here we have a 712 mulch tiller, John Deere obviously. This is a plow from 1983. Yep, there's a 712. 1983 to 1988 was the production years for this, so fits right in our time period pretty nicely. On this one we have 13 shanks. So that's that. Back here we have a Kilbros. I think I said that right. Yeah, Kilbros obviously. This is a 1600 I believe is the model on this. Yeah, model 1600. Obviously, this is a really nice auger wagon. Might be a little oversized for the farm, but once we get to harvest, we'll see. So yeah, production years. I'm having troubles finding information on this auger wagon, so I'm not quite sure, but it might be a little bit newer. So, but yeah, it fits the general vibe of the 1980s. So yeah. Then over here, this is a very nice piece of equipment. Well, we got a grain truck, Mack, obviously. This is a RS 700L and then specifically it's a 12 V7 1TA. So this is a very nice truck. Production years for this is 1975 is around the time period, so it's a little bit older than the 1980s, but it works very well, obviously. So that's that. Horsepower running, we have about 650 horsepower, which is quite a bit for a grain truck from back in the 80s. But yeah, this works very well for harvest. Pretty excited to use this, and that auger wagon combination should be pretty nice. These start around 280 horsepower, and we've one of the higher models. That's why it has so much horsepower, 650. So that's pretty good. So now we're gonna head into the main shed. We'll start in the back here. This is just a bale spear for our John Deere. You'll see that in a second. Alright, so we'll slowly back up, and we'll start from the right. Where's the door? Oh, that's right. So this is the main shed. This is where most of the equipment is held, and this might be one of my better farms I've ever set up. This is really fun. But yeah, so just let you guys look for a second. But yeah, we'll start here. So we have ourselves 1980s 3-wheeler, 200 HEC, pretty nice. Honda, obviously. Very fun just to rip around on the farm a little bit. Not much to that. Now one of the better pieces of equipment we have here. One of my favorites. We'll just walk around real quick. John Deere 8760. This is very nice tractor. This runs about 300 horsepower. So it's a very powerful tractor. And the PTO on this is about 256 horsepower. With this we will be using our seeder, and we will also be hauling that grain wagon with, or the auger wagon with. So that's that. And right here, 4020, can't go wrong with the 4020 diesel. It's a very nice one. We got wides on the back, definitely wider than normal. We use this a lot for our dairy farm, so that's why we have the front loader attachment on here with the bucket here. And the bale spear was meant for this tractor as well. With this 4020 diesel, the production years for this, 1964 to 1972. Horsepower, about 85 horsepower, and the PTO is about 91 horsepower. So that's the 4020 for you guys. Then we'll go the John Deere 90, just a little skid steer here. Very small, very old. Not much horsepower on this, only 23 horsepower, and production years was 1978 to 1979. So that works very well. We don't use it that much just because we have a bucket on here, and it's a lot more efficient to use a bigger bucket. But every once in a while in the cow pen when we're cleaning, if we need to get in somewhere close, this works very well. So we'll go right back here. We have ourselves some seeders. Tandems, actually. So these are no-till drill seeders. The model number is, they're 1590s no-till drills. Very nice. These are obviously tandem, as I've said, but these get pulled behind the 8760. So these are very nice. You guys will hopefully see some of those soon, but not much to explain about those. Other than tandem wise, this one, the back one will swing over on the right of this one, and they come together. But it's a very fun setup. Very fun setup. Also, years wise, this is one of the pieces of equipment where it's also hard to find a seeder that old. So these are slightly newer than the 1980s. Like late 90s, we're talking early 2000s, so it's definitely a little newer than the 80s. But for this farm, I'm trying to be as realistic as possible, but with the mod hub there's just not that much on console especially, so this is the best that we could do. It also is a really clean setup on the 8760, so yeah, don't mind that. They're just slightly newer, but still works. Now possibly one of my most favorite setups. Some of you guys are not gonna like this, the green on red, but to me, this is really clean. This is a very, very, very nice setup. Here we have our International 1586. It's a medium-sized tractor, obviously. This is the 1978. That's when this was made. Horsepower-wise, we are running about 179 horsepower. And the PTO on the back, we have about 161 horsepower. So that's pretty nice. And then the back on the planter, obviously John Deere 7000. Can't go wrong with this. This is planter made 1974 to 1986. So right in the middle of the 80s. For John Deere, this is the most precise planter they had ever made back then. And what was so precise about it is the depth that the seeds were planted. It was the most precise ever, with max merge, all that. So very, very fancy for the 80s. But that's a good setup right there. 1586 on that planter. It's a very, very fun one. And here we have ourselves a 4840 medium-sized tractor made from 1978 to 1982. Horsepower running about 200 horse, and the PTO 180. Very, very clean tractor. Wheels wise, you guys are probably wondering what's going on here. Yeah, twins. It might look a little goofy to some, but I personally like it here. But yeah, it's a pretty good tractor. For this one, this one gets used for, this is kind of a multi-purpose tractor. It gets used for a decent amount of things, but that's what that is. And then the combine, obviously, corn header SLC 206. And then the combine itself. This combine is a 8700 hydro combine. Turbo, actually. Hydro turbo. Very, very powerful one. This one is running about 225 horsepower. So it's pretty good for a combine back then. And the manufacturing dates. This one is kind of tough because this one's it fits in the 80s, but it's right at the end of the 80s. We got 1989 to 1993. So for being a farm from the 80s, we are running very, very, very good equipment from the 80s, very new equipment. So someone call this a BTO setup. If you don't know what BTO stands for, big time operator. Some people may say this is a little bit unrealistic for the 80s, which it kind of is in the 80s with all the debt from the financial crisis and the recession. This is an insane setup. This is someone who's doing very well, so it's pretty nice. But this is going to be a very fun farm to play on, and hopefully you guys stick around, watch the whole series. But yeah, this was the equipment walkthrough, so hope you guys enjoyed it. There's not much. You guys already saw everything, and by no time we'll be plowing some dirt out here, and we'll get started on here. And one more thing before you guys leave, if you've made it this far and you are wondering, why are you not playing on FS25? FS25 does not have all the mods that I would like for the 80s. Even this does not have all the mods that you guys have seen, so that is why we're not on FS25, especially on console. This would be really hard to do, because the mods for FS25 are not quite there for console quite yet, so we will be waiting for that. But otherwise, hopefully you guys enjoy the series on FS22. Personally, FS22 runs a little smoother for me right now on console. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.